Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome to Asian Filmist. My name is Ray and I love movies. And the movie that I'm going to be talking about today is the 2011 film The Children Who Chase Lost Voices, and it's directed by Shinkai Makoto, the guy who brought to the world Your Name. Children Who Chase Lost Voices is a fantasy film, and in my opinion, it's a lot different than the kind of film that Shinkai Makoto typically makes, and I think that's a positive, and that's one of the reasons I want to talk about this film with you guys today. And so the story of this movie, honestly, I think there's a lot of things that go into the story, and I really want to talk about each and everything because I think it spoils a lot of the story if I go into too much detail. But long story short, Children Who Chase Lost Voices focuses on this girl named Asuna, and she travels into this world called Agartha. Agartha is a strange and mysterious land, and it's generally regarded in many cultures as the land of the dead. Asuna goes into Agartha with the help of a mysterious man named Morisaki and a boy who's from Agartha named Shin. Agartha is a land that's hidden deep underground, and it's a land that has been sought after for many generations from many world powers, for its vast knowledge and also the kind of powers that it's rumored to have. And so along the way, Asuna and company meet many fantastical monsters, including beasts that kind of guard different realms of Agartha, and also kind of demonic spectral beings that come out only in the darkness, and they're really quite horrifying to watch. And of course, they encounter the natives of Agartha, who will stop at nothing to protect the culture and the knowledge that the land hides from the outside world. And so I hope I did a good job of summarizing the story, but now with that aside, let's talk about the things I liked about Children Who Chase Lost Voices. And so first and foremost, I feel kind of repetitive every time I talk about a Shinkai Makoto film. I'm always going to say this about his movies, and that they are absolutely beautiful. The artwork is stunning. Everything from the colors to animation, everything is vivid and full of life. You really can go no wrong with a Shinkai Makoto movie when it comes to having a visual experience. This is a fantasy story, and I really thought the designs for each of the characters, for each of the monsters, were really quite wonderful. And it's definitely a lot different than your typical Shinkai movie, most of which ground themselves in the real world. So it's nice to have Shinkai Makoto, go into a fantastical world and show what he can do with it. The film pulls from many real-world cultural and mythological stories to create this really interesting world of Agartha, and I think they did a good job with that. And of course, the voice acting was on point, the music was hypnotizing, as expected with a Shinkai Makoto movie. But the one thing I appreciate the most about Children Who Chase Lost Voices is the themes that it explores. The story deals a lot with life and death, and also coping with death. Each of the characters in this movie all have interesting backstories where they have experienced death and are slowly learning how to cope with them. And as the story goes along, I thought it was really interesting the way the story explores these themes and the way it affects these characters. And there are so many tear-jerking moments. It's a given, with its subject matter. And, there'll probably be a few scenes when you'll be having to wipe tears away from your eyes. And one thing I really enjoyed is that the story, at times, it got pretty dark. Of course, it's a fantasy story, and it seems like it would be made for kids or teenagers. But, when you get introduced to these monsters, sometimes things get really violent, and things get really bloody, and I just couldn't help but enjoy all of it. All that being said, I really had a lot to enjoy with this movie. But of course, as with any movie, there are a few things I couldn't enjoy about this movie, so let's get right into that now. But honestly, the things I have negative to say about Children Who Chase Lost Voices, there was really only one, and that it felt too much like a Ghibli movie. Granted, it's Shinkai Makoto's twist on the fantasy genre, but I couldn't help but just keep comparing elements of the story with those of Ghibli. And Asuna, she has this cute kind of cat sidekick animal thing that, I just couldn't help but be reminded of Nausicaa's little animal friend. And obviously those movies were not bad, but I felt like because I had to keep comparing this movie to those, I had to chalk it up as a negative. But other than that, I felt this movie did a really good job job at exploring every single theme that it had set out on, and I thought that, you know, everything obviously was visually amazing and fantastic. You know, overall, it's a Shinkai Makoto movie. You know, he's a master of crafting stories with lovable characters and, you know, having stories that really grip you emotionally. And here he is taking a stab at the fantasy genre. And, you know, he did very well. I definitely recommend this movie for fans of the fantasy genre, and obviously for fans of Shinkai Makoto. You guys will not be disappointed. And so yeah, those are my thoughts on Children Who Chase Lost Voices. What did you guys think? Whatever your thoughts are, let us know in the comments below. And once again, my name is Ray. You can catch me on Twitter at RayMaru555. And once again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you see, click like to subscribe.
獲物は確かにいただいたぜ。